All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second episode of our fantasy football podcast. What an exciting week of football. I am glad that fantasy football is back because it means I get to shit talk all of your fucking shit teams. And I'm looking at literally everybody except for maybe Matt Daly because all of you guys are just terrible, terrible. So we have a lot to get through. We have some special guests coming on the show. Very excited to have them. So without further ado, we're just going to go over a quick recap of some of the games that I thought were pretty good this week. Some of the teams that look especially strong, some of the teams that look especially weak. So if we look quickly at the standings, very quickly, I am in first. I was the highest scorer. Matt Daly was the second highest scorer. So kudos, Matt. You came out. You did your best. Then we have Mike Bell was here, Kalen and Omar rounding up Division 1 wins. And in Division 2, we have Matt Daly, Jordan Ivney, Scott Newborough winning their games as well. So big week in fantasy sports. In the championship division, we had some pretty big upsets. We'll get into those in a bit. So let's go through some of these games in this championship division. I'm going to tell you, competition doesn't look that fierce. We had, we can count them here. One team scored 50. Two teams scored in the 50s. And one team in the 70s. A couple teams in the 80s. And honestly, 90 is usually where most teams lie. Usually, if you break 100, 105, you're going to be in contention for a winning. But that just didn't seem to be the case this week. It was more or less just teams blowing each other out of the water. It wasn't even close. So we just go through. Cool. I didn't realize that NFL.com does if in case you're just listening to the podcast, NFL.com, if you go to their recaps, they actually do a breakdown of each team. But I think you can clearly see that my team was just way more dominant. I had Tom Brady, DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper all scoring over 20 points. And then both my running backs were in double digits. My flex was in double digits. So rounding out the whole team, pretty fucking good. We're playing Jake Sucks, who is Ryman. Poor showing. I mean, you could have expected better from Zeke. You could have expected better from Diggs. Terry McLaurin, Lauren? Yeah, right. I had that right. He may not be the best move going forward with Fitzpatrick out, but remains to be seen. And Julio Jones in Tennessee. Well, A.J. Brown is there. So Ryman, looks like you're going to have a pretty good priority on the waiver wire this week. Sucks to suck. I'm going to tell you that much. Next, we go over to Omar's team. You know, Omar's team held the lead the whole game. He was backed by a slew of players who all scored double digits. His defense, flex receivers. No one was a all-time high scorers, but you know what? He didn't get any busts. There was no Aaron Rodgers on this team. I'll tell you that much. And then who he's playing? Zach Lang. Who started Russell Gage. And I don't know if, Russell Gage only was targeted twice this weekend. So that's kind of a bust to get 0 points out of a receiver. But that's not the make or break it. The make or break's just that your team is shit. So that's about it. So Zach, Omar, good showing. Looking forward to playing you. Look like a strong contender this year. We move into Grugel versus the cameraman. So that's Marty versus Kalen. And then once again, another game, you know, these teams, once they get the lead, you can't let them get it because they just won't give it up. So the key is to come out hard, come out fast, and just step on the throat. And so if we go down, it sucked, Marty. Aaron Rodgers getting you one point. That's not a good. That's an anomaly, I would expect. But even still, if Aaron Rodgers scores 25 points, you still lose this game. So I don't think it's just a one-man problem here. You could probably try to expect more out of your flex. You could probably try to expect more from like Juju Smith-Schuster. But I think starting both Pittsburgh receivers, you know what? Great to cheer for. You're very, based on your profile pick, is a bunch of Steelers stripes. So I imagine you're a Steelers fan, and I'm sorry for your loss. And it probably sucked having to cheer for the Baltimore Ravens defense. Yeah, so, 73 points, not going to do it. Not going to do it in the championship league because Kalen coming out swinging with Russell Wilson and Gronk leading the way. Russell Wilson with 27, Gronk with 21 points. I mean, you can't ask much more from your tight end. That's a big-time move from your tight end. That's enough basically to almost win him the whole game because between those two players, you're looking at about 50 points, right? So in order to beat 73 from the last ones, you just need 20. So, and the Steelers gave it to him. So the Steelers D coming out huge, forcing some turnovers. They got the win in Buffalo, huge win because Buffalo is supposed to be a playoff team. Honestly, their O-line doesn't look so good. So we'll see how the Buffalo responds in the next few games. But I think their schedule gets a little bit easier. So they might have that going for them. If we move in to Hillbilly Kalen and Beat Hard. So this is Scott Newborough and Dan Sterling. For all the new players in the league, Dan is a perennial shit team. I have never seen anybody as bad at fantasy football. I'm pretty sure, actually, you know what? Yeah, the computers would do a better job. I'm pretty sure randomly picking players does a better job. But I digress. So basically, these were two of the lower scoring games with 93 to 56. So Josh Allen did really well for Scott, for Hillbilly Kalen. He had Josh Allen and Cooper Kupp, and Miles Sanders were his best players. I wouldn't say they were phenomenal. Josh Allen scored 17 and then 16 from Cooper Kupp and 13 from Miles Sanders. But you know what? A win is a win, and wins are tough to come by in this league, as is the case in real football. So you got to grind out some of these ugly wins if you want to compete for a championship. Dan with Lamar Jackson, 20 points is pretty respectable. And I think his team is going to get better as the season goes on. Jerry Jeudy, that was a terrible loss. He left the game and he's going to be missing 4 to 6 weeks. That's a really terrible, because he was supposed to do really well this year. I like him. I think he's a good player. But he left the game early at 7 points. So luckily, I think Daniel probably have pretty good waiver wire priority this week. The Green Bay Packers defense just didn't show up for you at all. That's a negative 3 points, -3. So you were probably better just to not play them. Well, you would have been. But who would have known? Who would have known that this Jameis Winston and the Saints? My trainer was telling me something once. And what did he say? Oh yeah, he told us to be prepared. That's a Jameis Winston quote. In case you missed the interview, he's the best. So I firmly like that guy. I think he's going to do great things in the league. I don't know why the Tampa Bay Bucks got rid of him. I didn't think he was the problem, but I don't know. What do I know about football? What do I know about managing football teams? Except for my team is first in fantasy, so that's about right. You guys hear that? And because I'm the owner of the podcast, I get to talk all the shit I want when I do well. And I do not have to hear it when I don't. So, next in the champion, there's a lot of games to get through. We have Mike and Jake. And so, Mike was Jake's relegation, and he scored up 118 points, a very respectable number. 118 will definitely guarantee you a win in this league. He came out fast, and he came out hard. By the end of the fourth game, or by the end of the 1 o'clock games, Mike had already accumulated about 80 points. And so Jake, unfortunately, just couldn't keep up with that. He had some dud players of his own. Jake had Patrick Mahomes, which was it, but that's the only bright spot on this team this weekend, because Derrick Henry with 7 points, James Robinson with 9. But the real story is Ronald Jones from the Tampa Bay Bucks got negative 0.6 points. What on earth? This dude was supposed to be the starter, if not I mean, Henderson will correct me, but they might have platooned him and Fournette. I'm pretty sure that that Jones was supposed to get more carries. He basically fumbled the football early on in the game and was never seen again. So I'm pretty sure we'll see how much his touches improve over the season. But I would be very weary about him right now because Leonard Fournette didn't look too bad, was catching the ball out of the backfield a little bit, showing a little bit of versatility. Maybe becomes a little bit more of a complete back as he gets older, right? So super interesting. Next, and so for Jake's relegation, he did really well. Adam Thielen put up 20. David Montgomery put up 18. Joe Burrow put up 18. Can't complain with that. That's a solid performance by 3 players. That's definitely enough to get you to a 120, which is the margin for winning. Now we got Matt Daly. Now Matt Daly's team, oh baby, what a squad did Matt Daly put together. He had some booming players, a couple busts, but you know what? It's all overshadowed. As Matt Stafford put up 24, Joe Mixon put up 21, Tyler Lockett put up 22. Like, you're not going to beat those numbers. With a couple guys sprinkled in, like Travis Kelce and the Los Angeles Rams defense, I can see this now starting to become a contender all year round. We'll see if Joe Mixon continues to produce against other teams. The Minnesota run defense is abysmal. That is a terrible defense. The whole team is actually just a bunch of bums. I would fire the whole squad. Get clean house, just get rid of everybody except for Eric Kendricks. I think he's good. Harrison Smith can stay, and Anthony Barr. Danielle Hunter can stay. That's about it. I think that's literally the only people. Oh, and Justin Jefferson, he can stay too. And Dalvin Cook. Okay, fine. There's like 6 players that can stay. Everybody else, gone. Just get rid of them. So, anyways, a little bit of a tangent, but we're coming back. Yeah, Jarrett, you know what? You actually had a run. This is one of the only games in the Championship League that actually had a lead change at any point in the game. However, it was kind of doomed as he kind of capped out a little too early. He needed some big plays from some of the players late in games. So he didn't get anything from Aaron Jones because the whole Packers thing sucked. Brandon Ayuk, I think he got hurt, or he was I think I'm not sure. I thought he had an injury or something, but yeah. So Dallas Goedert 10, Mike Williams 14. The rest of your team was solid. You just had 2 duds. So maybe next week that'll be enough to carry you in, because if you get 9 or 8, 10 points from each of them, then you're into the 110s. So who knows? You might be able to make a comeback. All right, guys, and moving on to the very last game in this league. We have Play Boldly versus Raffy Bomb. That's Jordan Ivany versus Eric. This was a very exciting game. This was by far the closest one. Didn't come right down to the wire because was there a Monday game? From Raffy Bomb, New England defense, Tampa Bay Giants. Oh, he had Mark Andrews. And he needed Mark Andrews to not score, I guess, like 10 points. But turns out if Mark Andrews scored, I guess, 12 total, 10 more points, then Raffy Bomb walks away with the win. 12 is a lot to ask from a tight end. It's been done before, obviously, but it's hard because there's only so many red zone trips. They're not going to break tackles all the way down the field. And so for a run-focused team, it's going to be hard for them to throw Mark Andrews probably twice, because you're probably going to need 2 touchdowns to get that number, unless the game plan changes. But if you watch the Monday night game, the Raiders kind of just didn't let Mark Andrews get anything, didn't let him pick up any kind of momentum. So that's about it. We have a very special guest, so we're going to go on a break, and we will come back in a second. Yeah. All right, so on our show today, we have a very special guest, the owner of Play Boldly, Jordan Ivany. Jordan, how you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
I am good. Thanks for asking. So I know the NFL.com, they rated your fantasy team pretty poorly, but you came out with a huge win. What are your thoughts on the win this weekend?
Yeah, well, let's just start with how much of a joke NFLFantasy.com is for saying I'd go 0-14 with Kyler Murray and Tyreek Hill on my team.
Yeah, I think that was a bold prediction. To be honest, the rest of your team didn't do so well.
I mean,
But those
CeeDee Lamb, he participated.
he did. He
We
did.
definitely got some adjustments to make, but I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, I think you know what? To be honest, can't complain with a 1-0 record, right?
Nope.
So of your the players on your team, who do you think's going to do really well this year?
I mean, like the guys I said, Kyler Murray and Tyreek Hill. I'll ride their backs all the way to the championship. I'm not worried about that at all.
God forbid something happens, but you know what? We'll knock on wood. Hopefully they stay safe. League's better without
Yep.
it. I did notice that you had Jamal Williams and DJ Chark on the bench. Do you have any regrets?
Lots. You know what? I thought Saquon might be that guy this year. He's obviously not going to be that guy. So I think Williams is going to start this year. Chark was not sure why I sat him, to be honest. We'll see.
Well, I mean, it's to be honest, Cortland Sutton is a pretty good. Normally, he's a pretty good flex. So
Yeah,
um,
he did
I,
do it this week. But
yeah, I don't
week
think
one jitters. You never know. It's always
Yep.
a toss-up week one.
That's true. So yeah, I know I saw you beat Eric. Do you have any messages for Eric?
I mean, all we can do is thank him. I think you messaged it. Oh my God! I think you mentioned it in your last show that he reached for Tannehill. So thank God for that. Um, and thank God for the Baltimore Ravens who can't beat a terrible team.
Amen, amen, dude. And lastly, you played Dan this week. What do you think of the matchup? And do you have any messages for Dan?
I'm not worried about it. It's Dan.
Great, great. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you for being on the show. Love having you. Hopefully, you'll be back again soon.
Yeah. Good luck, man.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
All right. So that was Jordan Ivany, owner of Play Boldly. But don't go anywhere. We have a second special guest for you guys. I know not one, but two. This is a twice the deal interview night with the Jordan Sterling Fantasy Football Big League podcast. We got to think of a better name because that is a mouthful. But yeah, just don't go anywhere. Make sure you listen to, our sponsors. Thanks. Welcome back from the break. I am here with the Fantasy Fisters owner, Alex Sterling. Alex, nice to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
All right, great. You had a fantastic showing this weekend. You were the top scorer in your league. Do you have a message to the other owners that you want to say right now?
I think I'm going to have to correct you on that one. We were second. We were close. I think we were behind Ryan with 4 points, by 4 points, but it was very close, especially in that overtime. If Josh Jacobs didn't get hurt, I would have been the top scorer. So watch out, everybody. You should be prepared for my team to come in. We're going to play well. We're going to perform when we need to, and we're going to get the dub.
That's great. Yeah, I did look at my notes. Yeah, it turns out that Ty was the top scorer this week.
Oh.
But I digress. Yeah, you had a lot of players over 20 points. Did you expect to do this well this week?
My wide receivers, I definitely was not expecting to kind of have this performance. I think I did overperform what I was at my expectations, but I'm glad they showed up. Darren Waller with his 19 targets was phenomenal. I think he set a couple records on the targets for himself. So hopefully he continues to perform. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, your team looks stacked. I've noticed though that your team is you really like these Raiders and Bucks players as your team is stacked up on them.
I went all in on the Bucks. I remember I was staring down Ronald Jones in the draft, and I was like, you know what? If I'm this far in, I'm going all in on this team. So got Ronald Jones, and the Raiders got the 2-star players. So hopefully those teams do well.
Yeah, that looks great. It looks like you're set up to have a really great season. I think for this next week, I'm just pulling it up now. You're looking to play Nate, the Alpha Legion, who came off a loss last week. Do you have anything you want to say to Nate directly?
Directly to Nate. Oh, you see, I want to keep it professional. No cheap shots on this one. Everyone has a good game, but hopefully we come up with a W.
All right, sounds good. I just want to thank you for your time. I appreciate having you on the show. Hopefully, we'll have you back on soon.
All right, thank you. Take care.
All right, guys. So that was Alex Sterling, owner of the Fantasy Fisters. Scored 157 points this week. Huge win. He was second in the league to scoring, only lost to Lambeau Leap, but he managed to beat. Who did he beat? He beat Effort Wins, which is Ricky. Ricky had a reasonable showing at 108 points. There was a lot of points scored this week in this league. I mean, it's evident that there's not as many teams. But some huge wins by a lot of teams here in the league. So and this league honestly was just as widespread. Now we're gonna go through the games right quick, but I do want to shout out that Lambeau Leap. I predicted him to have a very good team. This guy is a very big gut instinct kind of player, and he did a great job at picking players. If we go quickly into his team, we'll go into week 1. Kyler Murray, huge game, 35 points. Tyreek Hill, 31 points. Like, these guys were lighting it up. His bench, though, Ty went all in on the starters. His bench failed to perform. Maybe a cumulative, 6 points? 8 points, I think. 8 points. So across 5 players. Now, one of them, Michael Thomas, not able to perform until I think he's out till week 6 or 8 or something like that. Anyways, we'll see. I think his team is going to do so well, though, that it won't matter by then. I think he'll be far and away in the lead. So let's go through these games really quick. We'll go into week 1. So first game of... Oh, wait, no, this is week 2 still. Yeah, week 1. We'll go... First game we're going to dive into is the Papa T Spread Cheeks one. This was probably actually one of the closer ones of the 2 leagues, with Papa T taking a late lead with his defense and Mark Andrews playing, but wasn't able to hold on to the victory as the Raiders just kept racking up points. They got a pick late in the game, but you know what? A little too late, as they say in sports. So that was a great showing. Tom had some very good players. He was a little bummed out after Thursday night's game when Zeke only scored 4. But, he rallied back. He did a great job at staying disciplined, understanding where his strengths were, and making sure that he squeezed the most juice out of all the rest of his players. Is that going to be enough moving forward? Doesn't look like it, because the rest of the league looks very strong. So, Tom, you better start praying to the football gods that your guys start turning around, because this is not going to be a good season if you keep this up. But on the flip side, Papa T had Aaron Rodgers, so he got bit by the Aaron Rodgers bug. I was talking with him on the phone today, and he calls that guy like a bona fide superstar. He was complaining how Aaron Rodgers was all on Jeopardy, and you know what? I gotta say this. I think Papa T raised a good point. I don't think Aaron Rodgers was focused. He's in golf tournaments. He's on Jeopardy. He's doing whatever he wants except for playing football. And the only thing that matters to us, the owners, is that he plays football and he plays it well. And oh boy, on Sunday did he not do either of those things. They might as well have kept that bum on the bench, because he just fucking was brutal. So we'll see how he moves forward. There's a rumor that he played poorly intentionally, so that way he could get traded. That is not I don't think that's the case. I think Aaron Rodgers is a professional. I think he's too competitive for that kind of stuff. And I think the Packers are too good of a team. Like what other team in the NFC is he going to go to that he can win almost instantly? He can't go to the Rams because Matt Stafford is just signed there. He can't go to this. He can't go to the Seahawks. He could go to the Niners, I guess. But there's not that many teams that are at that top level contention. And honestly, if he was looking at saying, oh, maybe I go to the Saints. Well, you know what? I think the Saints have just proven that they found their starting quarterback in Jameis Winston, as they walked all over the Packers this week. And obviously, I guess the last team that I should mention is the Bucs, and he's obviously Tom Brady. TB12 is not going anywhere. So Aaron Rodgers wants to win a Super Bowl. He's going to have to do it in Green Bay. That's just how it is. So the rest of the team actually looks pretty solid with Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams. They all pitched in. It's just too bad because you spend a high draft pick for Aaron Rodgers, hoping to perform, probably 5th round, give or take, maybe 4th, maybe 6th. But you're hoping that he performs, drastically underperforms. Because, I mean, we've seen Aaron Rodgers of last year was amazing. So let's move on. Large penis team, Liam smoked Nate, who was Alpha Legion. Won by more than 40 points, which is huge. Had a bunch of really great players this week. Christian McCaffrey stands out to me, but Amari Cooper, and so does Amari Cooper. Those guys kind of held it down. The defenses for both of these teams playing today, so the Carolina Panthers and the Pittsburgh Steelers both scored 20 points. You know, you kind of think if your defense scores 20 that you're going to be at a huge advantage because the other team's not going to do that. Not the case in this one. Both defenses racking up huge amount of points, giving the owners just a little bit of breathing room. I think where Nate did really well is that Dak obviously scored a lot, and Alvin Kamara has a bunch of points. Now, Nate had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and to be honest, I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to get. There's too much talent in that dressing room. He's a good running back, but I think that would be an area that you can definitely improve in because Mike Evans, I think, over like the last 10 seasons, he's had 1,000 yards a season. So he's kind of a boomer bust player, but over time, he's been proven that he's going to be better than a bust. So although you might have dud games like this one where he gets only 6 points, you're going to have blowout games where he's going to almost single-handedly secure you a win. So I think that is where the opportunity to improve your teammate lies. So next we have Zach Tickle versus Ryan Lang. Ryan is the brother of Zach, the other Zach in the Champions League. He is the Lord's team, and you know what? I was kind of making fun of his team after the draft, and you know what? He kind of just stuck up and proved me wrong. Zach took a very late lead after the 4:30 games, but that didn't last as the Lord's team had who did he have? Chicago. He had David Montgomery. And David Montgomery did all he could to make sure that the Yokiro Tackle Bell was not winning this fantasy football game. Kudos though. I mean, really good performances of Patrick Mahomes, DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins. Those are solid. Not much you can do. However, your flex, bro, 1.9 points from the flex position. That's not going to win you a goddamn game in fantasy football. Especially if you've got, I think, hold on, we'll go back to week 1. Who did he leave on the bench? We left Robbie Anderson with 12 points on the bench, DJ Chark with 16 points, and Devontae Smith with 16 points. Any one of those guys you put in there instantly does better. Obviously not a win because you're way behind, but 16, yeah, no, not even still not enough. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So then we get to Fantasy Fisters. We already kind of went over this team with Alex a little bit, but like with Ricky, he actually had okay because he needs a quarterback. Justin Herbert, 13 points, not going to do it for you. But Travis Kelce getting 22. You know what? Travis was justifying why he is a early round draft pick. I think that's a smart decision. So, and I think Najee Harris will get better as the year goes on. I think this was a kind of a dud game for him, but first game in the NFL, so I can't expect too much. I think it'll take a couple games for him to get going. And lastly, we had this blowout of a game. Ty Wary just coming all over the Quinnell quicksand, and he's just fucking blowing loads everywhere. Kyler Murray, Chase Edmonds, DeAndre Swift, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, TJ Hawkinson, Deontay Johnson. The only player who only scored single digits was the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I got to tell you guys, this is the team you're going to have to look out for. I think Ty pulled a fast one on everybody by taking Kyler Murray early on. I think he took him in the 3rd or 4th round. Obviously could have taken him later, but you know what? I was talking to Ty that he was saying that Kyler Murray was leading the points before he was the number 1 QB in the league last year before he got hurt. And he's proven that is true. I think coming out like today against Tennessee playoff football team and just roasting them, he was jumping in the air, throwing it this way, running the ball. You get one of those plays where he just zigzag back and forth. This guy is electric to watch. I definitely think that Ty was seeing something that we all weren't. But you look through his team, it's pretty deep. So Connor, I am sorry for your loss, dude. You actually had an okay game, but you just couldn't. You got kind of handcuffed by Aaron Jones a little bit, but nobody was a really big. You had Lamar Jackson and Joe Mixon were great, but it's hard to keep up when you have Kyler Murray scoring 35 and Tyreek Hill scoring 30. Like, you're going to have a hard day. That's going to be a hard time. TJ Hawkinson scoring 20 points. Yeah, you know what? You might have a decent team, but your team is going to suck a little bit if when you're playing the best player probably in that league. I'm gonna call it right now. Week 1, Ty, you're gonna have a big target on your back next week. Yeah, so I want to just quickly wrap up today's podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening today. It was fun. Hopefully you guys got a little bit insight into both leagues. That's what I'm hoping to give. I'm hoping to give a little bit smack talk. So give you guys a platform. Anybody wants to be on the show, make sure you guys reach out to me at 416-668-7232. We take calls all day, all night. Here we go. Let's go all around the clock, all around the world, baby. Make sure you're following Bar Balliol on Instagram, BARBALLIOL. It's the official drink sponsorship of the big fucking fantasy football league. Thank you. Shout out to Spreadsheets. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.